Okay, great. So, first off, John Hanna Life Insurance is a independent insurance agent. He is based in Atlanta, Georgia. So, just as some context for you, he sells a majority of life insurance, term life insurance. Works with all of these different types of life insurance lines, and was really looking to try to reach the right audience that would be in need of his services. So, what was kind of communicated to me by John Hanna in Atlanta was that he was looking for individuals that were either married or they had a family or they were maybe skewing a little bit older in the age demographic as people, as they're getting older. They're thinking about life insurance a little bit more about how they're going to leave things for their loved ones. So that was kind of some context, and really what the goal was for him is he wanted to get more leads. He had been going through similar to you of maybe cold calling or spending time with people that he thought might be qualified or not, but didn't really have that feeling. He was also buying leads lists, so he was going to other insurance agencies or brokers, getting these leads lists, not knowing where he's getting them from. Running email campaigns where he would blast out thousands of people, and then he was also spending $12,000 a year on direct mail, where he was getting maybe two sales a year from the $12,000 investment and sending it to thousands of people. So, he came to me with that, with kind of those pain points, and he said, I would really like to see if this is something that, is going to work for me. So, um, for his case specifically, we were allocated $1,000 advertising budget, and we ran a campaign for him for about 2 weeks. So in that 2 week period, we were able to generate 21 leads in the state of Georgia. And we also, funny enough for him, he didn't even have a Facebook page. So you're definitely one step ahead by just even actually having a page. So we actually even ran the campaigns through our global social media marketing page. So I do want to make sure that you note that these results would be drastically improved, obviously, if he had had his own Facebook page, mainly for branding purposes, right? Like if you see the ads coming from the insurance agent or insurance agency versus seeing it from a social media company. But nonetheless, we still had good results, in my opinion, for his trial run. So we set up 12 different ad sets where we tested different audiences, and we also tested, does image work better than video? And then we also we kind of discovered, what's the right type of age that was responding, at what time were people most active of filling in forms or seeing the ads, and what was our cost per lead. So if you look at that first slide, we really found that we could consistently generate him a lead for under $48, and that was spending $50 a day. That number could obviously be improved based upon the targeting. We kept things kind of very generalized, so you can see in the graphic in the age. We started at 35 and we were targeting 65 and up. And then from there, you can also see that the response rate of the people that we were reaching more women. So about 63% of it was women. That doesn't surprise me too much in our results because number one, Facebook, there's more women that are actively using Facebook. And then also number two, sometimes when it comes down to buying life insurance for families, a woman in the household might be someone that's very concerned about that, or making some of those decisions. We can also see that, funny enough for him, people were being reached or kind of most responsive from the hours of about 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. I think that holds true because people are normally, in my experience, like across Facebook as just like an overall Facebook stat, people are most on Facebook normally on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they do that at night. So that kind of holds true. And so that's kind of everything on the first slide. Any questions with the first slide? The second slide shows the actual ad that we ran for him. So, we wrote, need affordable life insurance, get a free quote to protect your family or business. So we're kind of, hitting on a couple of the pain points in that copy, right? People are always looking for, a good price sensitive industry in insurance. Number two was also, protecting their family or business. People, he was also trying to reach like, small business owners that need life insurance for their company if something went wrong, in their lives, they passed away, what would happen to their company. Um, and then the last thing was the value offer, right? So a lot of what I've seen insurance agents offer as a value offer is a free quote. Very common in your industry. I would say that nothing wrong with that value offer. It still works, but if you can somehow think of your own value offer that is beneficial to someone outside of just a free quote, whether it's a presentation or PDF flyer or something that's informational, educational, where someone's getting value out of it, that's kind of the incentive for someone to click on the ad and fill in the form. So that's kind of what was driving people in this first ad. And you can see what we actually used for him in an image was we actually used his flyer. We actually created this flyer for him, and we actually put out the prices right there. So we were being really transparent before he's even gotten on the phone or talked to a lead, right? We're saying, look, we'll give you a free quote, but here's the pricing based on your age. So that way we're kind of eliminating maybe some of those leads that are really concerned about price, and they're trying to understand if they're going to be able to afford it now. So really they're seeing this as the first thing before they've even filled in a form. And you can see that the results for that ad example number one is we generated 7 leads at $26 per lead. So that was actually really good. Funny enough, we saw more men in that, and that probably comes down to the fact that when we were testing all the different ad sets, we did test an audience that was business owners, right? So you can target on Facebook by your title if you're CEO, business owner. You can also target on Facebook by if you're a Facebook page owner. Most times, if you're a Facebook page admin or Facebook page owner, you're also a business owner or you're a decision maker or you're high up. So that was also kind of the workaround. So you can see kind of the results there. And then if you scroll to the next slide, that was the second ad that we ran. So we did run a video ad. Um, Obviously, you can't play it in this PDF, but it really just was a quick 30-second video. We made it for them. We used one of our freelancers a video, and we kind of changed up the copy a little bit where we were trying to make the second ad example a little bit more focused on families. You can see that it converted a little bit higher um, at $39 per lead, and I think there's a couple of different factors on why that is. Number one, I think it was because we were probably targeting a different audience. We were targeting more of, again, we can target people on Facebook that are married, people that have kids. So we were definitely doing that for this one because we can also see in the video, just as the still shot, right? Protect your loved ones from uncertainty. Get a life insurance quote from an Atlanta-based agent, John Hanna today. So with that, I think the difference of maybe this ad versus the other ad is the first one is giving that good value offer of a free quote. So maybe the word free is resonating. Also, number two, the audience, as I mentioned, and then number three, the actual creative of the ad, right? So the video ad actually performed worse than the image, and here's maybe my hypothesis on why maybe that is that attention spans are really low now in today's world and on Facebook. The average Facebook video is consumed in about 5 seconds. So if you are not getting something across to keep the person's interest in the first 5 seconds of the video, then notoriously people on Facebook kind of fall off because most of the time, 80% of the people that access Facebook access it from their mobile phone daily. So if you're scrolling through your phone with the swipe up and the swipe down, you're going through it really quick, and also the audio doesn't play unless you actually stop to watch the video or you click on the video itself. Whereas an image, it can stand out if it's colorful, if it grabs your attention. So you can kind of go back and look at that first ad and say, well, it's blue and it's green and it's white. It stands out. It's got the price. There's probably not a lot of people that are advertising that type of image, versus a video. There's tons of videos, and you'd have to actually go through and watch the whole video, until you would get to that, maybe that call to action at the end. We also said, in the kind of the headline was a little bit different, right? We said $1 million in life insurance starting at $49 a month. So maybe that price point wasn't as attractive. Maybe, the audience responded a little bit better to having that table of prices. And you can kind of see those different results there, that we ran. So if you scroll to the next slide, you can see that, it also drove a ton of traffic to his website. We actually also built his WordPress website, funny enough. And, after we built his website, he was like, well, this is great. I have a website, but how am I going to generate leads now? And the first thing we were advising was either LinkedIn or Facebook. And so we went down the path of Facebook, and you can see that, we drove an additional 310 people to his website from these ads. Again, you have to remember he didn't even have a Facebook page. So I know, that this was coming directly from the ads because I had access to the Google Analytics. This is actually the screenshot of the Google Analytics, where I'm showing that increase. So you can see he had, 87% of new users were going to his website. He wasn't getting a lot of traffic. He's having somebody come onto his website, maybe look at more than a page. And it actually drove his bounce rate down a little bit because it was people that were actually relevant going to his website that had seen his ad and then wanted to see, some more information.
And that's in the first 30 days.
This would be over, the 3 month period that we had with him. So this is the month over month, users, that he had. So this is over that 3 month period. So we drove over a 3 month period, 310 people to his website.
Do you have any idea how many of those new visitors ended up becoming clients?
Yeah, as far as his visitors are concerned, I can't tell you from his website. We were not in our contract. We were not tracking, or we had no control of what happened from his visitors or anyone that reached out to him from his website. The only thing that we were tracking, if you go back to the first two slides with those Facebook ads, is we were able to say, hey, these leads are coming directly from Facebook. And then I do know that he did make, a sale from the 21 that he made, and the sale of the policy was, something around like $7,000, $8,000. So I know that the ROI, he did make a profit. And I don't know what he did with any of those website users because he had his own kind of way of feeling that just through phone calls or his own personal email. We didn't have access to those things, and he didn't give me any information letting me know that anyone came from the website. But that also could be on his end, not maybe knowing if somebody lands on his website if they came from Facebook first, right, and then went to his website and called him. So that's something that we could obviously do for you if that's of interest to you, but just in our contract, relationship, we didn't have that built in.
Okay.
Um, any other questions, with these first three slides or four slides? So then the next thing is I kind of went, and was showing him, look, the market is interested. People, funny enough, people don't think that, you're going to buy life insurance from Facebook, and, we actually proved that wrong, right? I mean, there's definitely an audience there. There's 1.7 billion people on Facebook. People are using Facebook daily. And the way that we kind of broke this down is we showed, some of the shopping preferences. This was a stat that we, had pulled from another, source, as of the beginning of this year, and you can kind of see, the audience, of a small family-owned, independently owned, business, right, is 62%. So we were kind of trying to reach that type of audience. And then also what you can see here on the right hand side, this screenshot, That's actually a Zapier integration. Are you familiar with Zapier at all?
Yes. Hmm.
So yeah, the Zapier integration was just integrated with his Facebook so that every time a new lead came through his Facebook ads, he immediately got them sent to his phone. And you can actually see the text messages of the form that we created for him. So you saw the ads. The thing that you haven't seen in the case study was the form, right? In the form, it would say, what's your full name? What's your phone number? What's your email? Do you smoke tobacco? And what amount of insurance are you looking to have for life insurance? So those were kind of our pre-qualifying leads to your point that we had the last time we talked about. Maybe some people don't have the amount of income to afford some of your services. Again, we're already qualifying those people for you before they've even talked to you, right? So you can kind of see we've got, do they smoke tobacco? No, great. That's awesome for life insurance. Qualify for other things. Same thing with the amount, so that he kind of had a gauge there. Another thing that was also, if you just go back quickly to the other slides, right? I can see in the second ad example, I could see the actual age breakdown. So I could see, 45 to 65 plus were the only people that responded to his second ad, whereas the first ad, I can see that there were some younger people, 35 to 44. So I think that's also very rich for you of understanding, hey, I have a general understanding of a range of their age. I know if they smoke tobacco. I know the amount of certs that they have. I have all of their contact information. And you're really on that end, what that's doing for you too is you could go and you could get your, these text messages to your phone, or you could get the leads and you could say, is this a good use of my time, Kelly, to go call this person, meet with this person, based upon the form questions that I've asked. And we didn't really ask a ton of forms either, a ton of questions, excuse me, in that form, right? We're asking 6 questions so that it's still easy enough for the person that sees the ad or has the interest in the value offer that you're giving to go and fill that out. And those leads are coming directly through Facebook. We're not sending them to the website, we're not sending them somewhere else. They're coming directly from Facebook. And then you're getting those as soon as that happens. Um, so the next slide that we go into is, why Facebook ads. Another thing that we can see, right, is that actually 83% of people, and this is coming from Forbes, some of this information, is that 83% of people that are actually on Facebook, um, uh, or people that buy, excuse me, people that buy life insurance policy, right? So of all the people in the world, in the United States right now, in this year, that buy life insurance, 83% of those people are on Facebook. So you can actually see that, Facebook pretty much crushes any other type of social media platform. So we know that Facebook is a good place. And I think that is attributed to the fact that most people do have a Facebook in 2019, especially when you talk about an older demographic audience, right? Like grandma, grandpa, they want to be on Facebook. They want to see what their kids are doing and, keep up with their family. Um, you can also see that, actually a lot of that same audience doesn't really trust direct mail anymore. I found that to be very true with John Hanna when I asked him about how many sales are you making. He's sending out thousands of direct mail pieces every month. He made 2 sales all year from that. So you already know from the direct mail that was a really big thing in the 90s and early 2000s. And even my own father was an insurance agent, and he used to have a lot of success with direct mail. But people are throwing that stuff away now. They're not really looking at it, or they may look at it, but it's very low conversion from there of them actually reaching out. And then the other thing with that is you don't know how long it's going to take them to respond, right? You might send a direct mail piece and maybe months later you hear from them, whereas Facebook, it's pretty much instantly. Like, we turned on his ad campaign and it ran for only 2 weeks, and we turned it off as a test run, and it generated 21 leads that eventually converted to a sale. So the response time is much, much quicker and faster on Facebook. You can kind of see some of the other types of channels that we're mentioning here, right, from the source of audience scan. Radio and newspaper and television, they start to increase, but you can see that, uh, you know, uh, Facebook is, there's a lot of people there. And if I can kind of show you social proof, Another thing is too, when if somebody sees an ad on Facebook, right, and there's a bunch of comments on that Facebook ad, or there's a high engagement where a lot of people have liked it or shared it, that is now giving another effect that you can't get with all these other channels, right? I can't, if I send a direct mail piece, I can't have Bobby Sue, my neighbor downstairs, tell me, hey, this is a trustworthy source from a direct mailer piece. Whereas a Facebook ad, the more people that I'm seeing engaging in sharing it or commenting, that actually adds some social proof to say, wow, this is credible and trustworthy. And oh, actually, I know that person in that neighborhood in Georgia, and wow, they're engaging with this, so I might want to check this out. Um, I pulled a stat just from Forbes from 2014. I know that's a little outdated, but even back then, it was saying that 64% of sales professionals in the United States actually had reported closing a deal from a direct result of social media. So I just kind of wanted to show some of those different types of channels. The next slide is me really hitting on that pain point of direct mail for John Hanna, right? I was trying to convince him that, look, you're spending $12,000 a year on direct mail and you're making two sales, and you spent $1,000 with me just on the ads in 2 weeks, and you almost essentially already beat what you were doing in direct mail in 2 weeks. So you can kind of see like the advertising budgets, how they're broken down, um, and how there's still a lot of insurance agents that are actually spending money on direct mail, right? I mean, there's $37 billion that was spent in 2017 on direct mail. And, with all that being said, I think that, I wanted to point that out to show him that, look, there's a lot of people that still don't have a good grasp of how to use Facebook to generate leads. A lot of people, maybe such as yourself, they've built a page, they've got good content, they've connected, they've gotten some, indirect organic leads, but they didn't do actually what this case study is showing you, which is actually setting a Facebook lead ad campaign with the right type of target audience and the right type of value offer and creative. You can also kind of see that you've got limited targetability with the direct mail again. So, you might get some of these types of demographics where you're filtering by, household income and age, and maybe if they have a children and their gender, and that's it. I can target things really, really granular on Facebook, and I'll get more into that on the next slide. But just wanted to kind of show you that slide. So kind of going on to the next one, on page 9, we were kind of talking about, hey, here's some of the marketing objectives that we can achieve if you would like to continue working with us. And so we said, we can continue to design some more ad campaigns and optimize them. We can start to develop some content, increase the quality of your leads. That was something that he came back to us and said, hey, it was great that you generated me 21 leads, but really only one of them converted to a sale. So I'd maybe like to ask some more pre-qualifying questions in the form, or I'd like to do some different targeting where, maybe the response was, the sale that he made was actually from a family, right? A couple that was looking. So maybe we go after married couples more. So those are more quality that actually would convert versus maybe a small business owner. He's, shopping around. He's not really thinking about his family as much as he's thinking about his business. And then obviously the biggest thing was we were trying to tell him was, look, hey, these were results that we ran from our own social media page, where we're a social media company. So imagine if you had your own Facebook page like you do, and the ads were coming from you. I already know that the results would be better because people are saying, wow, this ad is coming from an actual insurance agent instead of from a social media company. So those were some of the things that we were saying. And then kind of going into the next one, I'm going and I'm breaking down some of the things I had already mentioned to you about, why is this a better option than the $12,000? It's time sensitive, the response rate's better. I've got the ability to get that viral social effect, right, of questions and engagement. Very, in my opinion, from a test trial run of 2 weeks, running it through our own page, when it even was at his page, we were getting at $48 per lead. So that number would improve as time goes on. Usually, if you're optimizing your ads, that price should be decreasing as time goes on. And the reason for that is because in Facebook, the more likes, the more comments that you get, the more that the algorithm in Facebook is saying, wow, this is a really relevant ad. It's got a lot of engagement. I want to continue to show this to this audience and show it more. So I'm going to rank this higher. Um, we could also track everything, right? I knew exactly from the Facebook ads, I wasn't sending people to his website. I was sending people to a form on Facebook, and we would receive that form, and then he would get it through his mobile. I did get to see, however, that people did go off onto his website probably for further research, or once they filled out the form, we also had this option that said, hey, thank you for taking the time to fill out this form. If you'd like to see some more further information, please visit our website. And so there was people that actually went through after they filled the form. They probably went and they researched a little bit. So that was adding another layer, right, of qualifying them even more of like, hey, they get the chance to go to the website, see who John is, add some more credibility, and kind of build that trust before they even got to talk to him. We had different types of ad designs, right? So I think, one concern that you had was, I need new video, I need to see new creative. There's no issue for that. We can do that. We can change that. We can test things. Also kind of with the targeting, right? We integrated it for Zapier, so as soon as somebody fills it out, he's getting the leads sent straight to his phone. So there's no lag time of waiting for the leads, of us emailing him leads. He's literally getting it to his phone, and then that word of mouth again. So the biggest thing that I was really kind of trying to take home at the end for him, which I think is very valuable for you to see too, is how can you target when you move on to the next slide on slide 11 is you can target people by a lot of different things, right? So one thing that both you and him have mentioned to me as a pain point is I really want to target high income people. So there is an option to target on Facebook. You can't target by their annual income. They actually took that feature away within the last year or two, but
Yeah.
you are able to still target by top 20%, top 10% of income. So you can kind of do a percentage of income, like if you're in the top 5, top 10. You can also creatively think about like my target audience, all right? If they have a high income, what would a high income person like on Facebook, or what would be their habits? I did some research on it and found that there are a lot of people on Facebook that have a high income that are frequent travelers. Right, makes sense. If you have high disposable income, you're traveling more in your older age. If you've saved for retirement and you have a lot of money, you're traveling more. You're spending that more on travel. Also, I found that people that are high income, and I've got it here under hobbies, right? They have these different hobbies that are expensive hobbies, right? They're golf, right? Normally, a male that's in his 60s that is well off is going and playing golf every day. Also, you could see that maybe they were driving a BMW, or maybe they were driving an Audi, or some expensive luxury car. Also, maybe when they were traveling, maybe they were traveling for some type of outdoor activity or hobby sports such as skiing, right? Skiing's really expensive, or they did yachting, or they did boating, or they did a lot of cruises. Also, you could kind of bucket them into luxury goods. So, if they had the newest iPhone of the year, maybe they had an iPhone 10 or XR, that's kind of showing, okay, they have the latest and greatest in technology. Do they buy like a really expensive TV, or are they buying like Louis Vuitton, or really, well-known fashion brands? So you can target by those things. The other thing that we could do, right, is it's not like direct mail where I'm not really sure what the age is. I can set that age restriction, right? So I can kind of include that older audience or that younger audience. I could also go, if they're reading certain things, right? Maybe kind of the old school generation is still reading the newspaper. They're reading the Wall Street Journal. They're reading in Atlanta, Georgia. They're reading the Atlanta Journal Constitution. You can also target by people on like where they are in the home buying process, right? Are they have they been living in the same house for 20 years, or do they own their own house? Are they a recent home buyer, right? If they're a recent home buyer, maybe they're going through that process of they just got married and they're trying to have a house and they're going to have a kid, and they're already thinking about that life insurance stuff. Relationships, I think, was one of the big things that came out. We can target by people that are married. We can target by people that are single. We can target by people that are divorced. We can target by people that are parents, and we can target by people that are single parents. All of those features are available to target from a relationship standpoint on Facebook. And then we could also, if we wanted to get really granular, right, we could go and we could focus on a specific high income neighborhood, right? There's always low income neighborhoods and high income neighborhoods. So okay, we want to reach that high income. Not that we don't want to help the low income, but let's focus where, the more expensive houses are or where the nicer schools are. And so that's what we did instead of, just focusing on the Atlanta region. Okay, within that Atlanta, metro area, Alpharetta, Roswell, Marietta, those are cities that are high income, good school systems, kind of upper echelon to be able to afford maybe these life insurance policies. And then the final thing that we did is we excluded maybe some of the cheaper stuff, right? So, maybe people that are really going to Walmart and Kohl's, even though maybe all consumers at some point have gone to those places, maybe people that are high income are not shopping at Kohl's and Walmart on a consistent basis, right? Maybe they're going and they're shopping at places like Whole Foods, or they're going to places like I mentioned, like Louis Vuitton for their clothes, or just some of those higher income, higher premium product places that they would shop. So there's really a lot of different targeting options that you can provide. My main point with this slide is that you're not going to be able to target these things on television or direct mail or anything else that you've been doing. And I think this was also that when I talked with you, when you were telling me about the other person that you were working with, is they weren't showing you any of this. I am more than happy to show you, if we work together, the audience. This slide is actually showing all the different options that we could. I didn't actually include the exact audience that I targeted for him because I didn't want somebody to just obviously go take my proprietary information and kind of go do everything without me trying to show them how I could set it up and be effective for them. So that's everything in the case study. The final slide is really just our proposal that we gave him this year of saying, the monthly cost is about a $2,500 investment. And that doesn't include ad spend. And the reason why we were charging him 2,500 is because we also wanted to make sure that he had a page. He didn't even have a Facebook page at that time, so we were going to have to set that up. We were going to need to create content for his page, and then that last kind of final number there, you can see again he was spending $12,000 on his direct mail. So I was trying to show him, look, if you spent 10 months with spending what you were spending on direct mail, I think it would, if we forecasted it without me, being able to predict the future, if I was able to generate you 21 leads and we just took that same number, right, you're looking at almost 200 leads there, and maybe we're converting, 10 of those, which, at that point, we're looking at maybe it's profit of, 80 to $100,000, somewhere in that range. So that's everything in the case study. Is there any questions, comments, concerns that you have about the case study? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
No, not right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, so I've presented the case study with you, and I've talked with you. Is there any other questions that you might have for me about what else you would like me to do now, or what might be the next steps for you in the process?
No, I really just want to take a look at this again.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the one slide, how to target high income on Facebook. And as I mentioned before, I don't, there's three basic products that, I'm marketing. And I just want to get clearer about what that looks like.
Okay.
Because the way that this looks to me is that you guys did quite a bit of work for him. because he really didn't have any social media presence. Like
Right.
there was a thing right in
Right.
place. So I have all of that. I've done some advertising. I want to take a look at what I've done, what's worked, and see if I can get you to tweak that so that the numbers are a little bit better.
Right.
47.96 for a lead. That's a lot.
Okay.
But
Is that a lot? My question would be, is that a lot if it converts to a sale?
I just think $50 per lead is a lot.
Okay.
Even if it does convert
Okay.
to a sale.
Well, I guess my point would be there is, are you willing to pay $50 if it produces, $5,000 in profit or $2,000 in profit? Even if it's maybe a little bit more expensive, but what I kind of heard from you is you're paying maybe $38 a lead, but you're getting a lot of unqualified leads and they're not
That's
converting.
correct.
So,
That's correct.
would you rather pay $10 more if you knew that they were qualified and they converted?
Yeah. However, when I look at the slide that has the Zapier integration,
Right.
so there would definitely be some additional questions that I would want included on a long form lead.
Okay.
To weed out.
Right.
Because with just this information, yes, it gives me the ability to, to make the initial contact. It gives me the ability to, add them to a mailing list, right?
Right.
But people are on Facebook doing so many things all at the same time, not paying attention. With just this data captured, are they really going to remember that this was the request that they made? So I would want to add something just a little bit more specific to these individuals, so that when I say to them, I received the lead, and on that lead you said that your favorite color or your favorite place or your favorite meal or your favorite restaurant was. So they're gonna immediately remember, oh yeah, that's what I did, and that's what I was looking for. So does that make sense to you?
It does make sense, and here's my response to that: is that when you do Facebook leads, which you've obviously for you've had that experience of, oh, you filled out this form, but you don't remember filling this out on Facebook, right? That's probably what happened for you. The quick way to do that is, obviously, it sounds like your response time was very good. You weren't waiting very long. Here's a thing that we didn't get to with John Hanna, and here's kind of the advanced stuff to your question of tweaking it and making it even better than what this case study was. You got to remember, this was my first insurance lead client at the beginning. This is in like December of last year. I've run multiple campaigns since this. So the next phase of all of this is, one, yes, improving the targeting and the form, to your point, but then number two, when you do the follow-up, you literally take a screenshot of the ad and you email them the template that I have, and it includes the screenshot. So they actually visually they see the ad again, and you've got that proof, and you can actually even show them this little screenshot from your phone as well too, saying you filled out this information and you saw this ad. So there's two ways, number one, that you can remind them if they've forgotten and they're like, I don't remember filling this out. Number three, obviously, if you want to ask a more personalized question, to your point of like, what's your favorite restaurant or whatever, that will also help them remember. The third thing is retargeting. Have you run any retargeting campaigns in the past?
I have not.
Right, and so that's huge, right? The problem with John Hanna is that he didn't have a Facebook page, so I couldn't really run retargeting. However, I could have ran retargeting on his website, and when I go to your website right now, I see that you have your Facebook pixel properly installed, but you're not running retargeting. So what you are already missing out, let's say you didn't even work with me right now on just doing your current Facebook lead ads. maybe your better option, even right now, more so, is actually running retargeting campaigns to people that are already landing on your website. And what that does is, once somebody lands on your website, any page of your website, or if we had a specific landing page for that same ad, I can then, once they get on that page, we've got them. That Facebook pixel code, every time they're on Facebook, we spend about $2 to $5 a day doing retargeting campaigns, and they keep seeing you in their Facebook feed, and they're gonna keep seeing you until they actually convert or go through again. So the power of retargeting, where a lot of insurance agents, they haven't even gotten to that point with me, is like they want to do some Facebook lead ad campaigns, but that $48 per lead, that price is going to drastically drop. Where, I mean, you could be looking at a lead at that point, if you're doing retargeting campaigns. I mean, I'm seeing some people get leads at $5 a lead from retargeting, where they've already seen the ad, they've already gone to the website. For some reason, they didn't convert, but we set up a retargeting ad after that, and then they're seeing that ad over and over again. It's almost like when you see a TV commercial, right? And you see Wendy's, and you're like, wow, I really keep seeing that spicy chicken sandwich. After the 10th time, you're like, wow, I really want a spicy chicken sandwich now, right? So retargeting will help you with reducing that high lead cost. And what it will also do is it will kind of drive people to being even more qualified, because they've gone through your ad, they've gone to your website, they've seen your ad. Maybe, they didn't convert for some reason, and then finally that retargeting is what's really pushing them through. So that's how I would also say this case study could have maybe even helped you with that concern even more, if I had gone to the next layer and started doing retargeting. But at that point in December, we just weren't there with him.
Got it. I got it.
Yeah. So any other questions, or I guess kind of objections to the case study?
No, I mean, that wasn't really even an objection,
Okay.
to be honest. It was just an observation, which you had also qualified, earlier by saying that he didn't have a social media presence. He didn't have a Facebook page.
Right.
So, but even without that, I think the results are very good, even without that.
Well, I appreciate that. So, I think at this point, if you want to take the time that you need to go look through this, think about the pricing, and maybe come back to something that's within your budget. I'll give you the time that you need, and maybe we could just send a date for maybe a follow up time of when I could reach out to you, and maybe have another follow up phone call, or kind of see what you think after you've had some more time to think about things.
Yes, we can definitely do that. Let's see. I have to push it out a little bit.
No worries.
Yeah, my daughter's giving, I might have said that to you, but she's giving birth next day. And then I'm traveling the first week of December. So we would be looking at December 9th, that Monday.
Cool. And then is there a specific time that would work well for you?
Morning, 9-10 o'clock is always good.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and shoot you another calendar invite today for December 9th at 9 a.m. And we'll just take that up as a follow-up to see if it makes sense for both of us to work together.
All right. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great week, and congratulations to you and your daughter.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.